him. Kyren Williams, and we talked about him during our 2-part series on running backs, but now it's coming out. He's not going to participate in OTAs. It's with a foot issue that came out, and he's got some injury history with which I know raises some red flags with you, compa. We both know that Sean McVay isn't always very forthcoming with the truth, con la verdad. So what's the concern level here?
Yeah, I think that you can look at these like a couple of different ways, right? The reality is we don't know how the Rams will handle it. We don't know what the specific injury is, but the bottom line is, and I put this tweet out, I think it was like last October or something. And I put that, you can go scroll through my Twitter timeline at FB Injury Doc. In October, I said, Kyren Williams is here for a good time, but he might not be here for a long time. He's got a very specific history of foot and ankle issues on both sides. Obviously, that Schefter, I don't know if you remember the beginning of the 22 season, that Schefter, nugget that he gave at the beginning of week 1, where he said, I really think the Rams like Kyren Williams. And he wasn't wrong, but in that first game, Kyren Williams had a massive ankle injury. And so that never really came to fruition in that year. Then the following year, that's when we really started to see him take off. So here's the thing about Kyren Williams. I think most fantasy managers understand, especially after the Rams took old Blake Corum, that Kyren Williams is a bit of I don't want to call him a James Robinson type, right? That's a little far in terms of the archetype of how his career went up and then all of a sudden sunk down. Obviously, I think Kyren Williams is more talented. Kyren Williams has better opportunity. He's in a much better situation, but he could take a pretty massive hit. I don't want to over-exaggerate and overreact. I just joked about how nothing really matters in the month of May, which is true. But you can view this Kyren foot situation potentially as an opportunity in Dynasty specifically to get some value back, because I think that his value before the draft, I think, was the highest that it was going to be. Regardless, Blake Corum was going to take some work. We kind of talked about that in the last episode. But in terms of his foot and ankle history, I mean, we saw Leonard Fournette sort of fall out of the league. And he had a history of foot and ankle issues that he couldn't quite shake. So before he was at the age of 28, Leonard Fournette was totally Lombardi Lenny was totally out of the league. Could that have played a role? Yeah, probably. It probably did. So again, it's tough to really project a future, but you can say that when it comes to compared to his contemporaries, Kyren Williams is riskier than some other guys that were being drafted as high as he was before the draft.
Is his youth, does it play a part a little bit more? He's still kind of like in those prime years for running backs.
It can, right? Like he can push through things. He can heal a little faster. He can sort of get back on his feet more quickly, but it ends up being, again, it plays back to the dynasty issue. It really plays more so into longevity. He's probably not going to be like a Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's probably going to play until he's 31, 32, 33, right? And knock on wood, as long as he doesn't have a big injury. A guy like Kyren Williams, probably not going to happen. Guys with an injury history, specifically feet and ankle, man, that's not good. It's not something that I want to align myself with. Maybe if you're trying to go for a championship and you got Kyren Williams super late, I keep calling him Kyren Williams. I don't know why. Kyren Williams super late.
Because he's one of one.
yeah, exactly. So maybe you got Kyren Williams and he's like on your dynasty squad. He's like your RB3, RB4. Oh, sure. Like ride that train until the cows come home. Right. But if for some reason he's on your dynasty squad, he's like your first or second best running back, then and you're trying to contend, I guess hold on to him. But otherwise, I'm trying to move him.